that is how bad it got. I literally was so depressed, I collapsed, crying all the time. I just cried my eyes out in Whole Foods because I had no clue what to eat. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to my channel. So today's video I'm going to share with you my acne story, and this is a very personal, intense story. So happy to share it with you guys because I just want to show you that yes, like going through these times, it is so difficult and hard, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel and you will cure your acne as well. So I first started getting acne around about 10 years ago when I was about 14, 15 years old, and the first form of acne I started to get was tiny little bumps used to come up over my forehead, which then started to progress into larger breakouts. When I got to about 15, 16, I started wearing a lot more makeup, the Dream Matte Mousse days. I started to get a bit of congestion on my cheeks, and then I started to get some breakouts on my cheeks. At 16 I also went on the pill, but only for like a couple of months, and it was microgynon pill. Actually on it for about 3 months, and then I stopped it, came off, and I went to the doctors. I tried Duac, I tried so many spot creams. They would work for like a couple of weeks and then they would stop working, and yeah, it was just really nothing was fixing it. I remember going to netball and I remember like crying in the car about my acne on my way to play a netball game because I was so embarrassed, because I knew that in those moments everyone could really see my skin. My diet was absolutely terrible at school. I used to eat everything and anything, like go out after school, have McDonald's with my friends. We used to just eat all the processed foods we could get our hands on. When I was at home though, I didn't have any of that really, because my mum was very strict with what we were and weren't allowed in the house. So at home I had quite a good diet and a really good balance, but when I was left of my own accord, it was terrible. So that was definitely making my skin worse. I actually have done a video on all the advice I would give my teenage self looking back at that time. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave that listed down below, because everything that I'd want to say right now about what I would do differently is all in that video. Trying to find things that I could topically put on my skin to fix the problem, because I thought that was the way you had to do it. And I also remember watching so many YouTube videos back then. I remember like Ingrid, Miss Glamour Arts, I used to watch her videos of like watching what kind of makeup she recommends for acne prone skin, try and hope and pray it would work for me. Looking back at those times, acne just ruled my life. Every single time I walked past a mirror, I had to look at my skin. I was constantly checking it. Every time I woke up in the morning, I was like, oh my god, what's my skin gonna be like? Is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad? Crying all the time. A lot of my friends had clear skin, like they ate everything that I ate and didn't get one spot. So it was like, what, why me? Why me is like the phrase of acne when you're going through it. You just constantly think, why me? My parents like got to a point where they were just fed up because I was crying all the time. They were trying their best to help me and fix it, but they couldn't. So we finally went to a dermatologist, which, oh my god, it's so expensive. I got some advice, and if I'm gonna be honest, it was an absolute waste of money. My acne came back. It didn't solve the problem. Kind of like, let's just mask this for a couple of months and then you can deal with it at a later date. So fast forward to being about 19 years old, I started to really suffer with getting like really itchy, especially in between my legs, and then I used to actually wake myself up in the night scratching my face. Like I just became really, really itchy. And my mum actually was suffering with similar thing as well, but she had it a lot like longer than I did. So she took this allergy test by York Test Laboratories. It's like a intolerance test, and you do the first one where they see if you respond to any allergens, and then if you do, you go on for the second part. So I took the allergy test. It came back that I was reacting, so I chose to do the second test, which is a lot more money. Looking back, it really was worth it for me. And oh my Jesus Christ, it came back that I was reacting to so many different foods. And this was the moment where my health journey, my whole even direction in life changed. I actually was in LA at the time, in America, because I was doing performing arts, I was a singer, I was pursuing my singing career. I found out I was allergic to wheat, gluten, I was reacting to yeast, coriander, cumin, eggs, I was reacting to milk, I was reacting to grapes, I was reacting to, honestly there was about 14 things on this list. But looking back at it, I definitely think I just had leaky gut from all the years of, eating things that actually my body wasn't agreeing with. I was probably just damaging my gut wall, and I was getting leaky gut, which was making me respond to lots of other foods. If you want to know more about leaky gut and how that affects your body, I do have a whole gut health and how it relates to acne video, so I will leave that listed down below as well if you want to go check that out as well for a little bit of added info. Me being me was like, well, let's just cut this out straight away. So overnight I pretty much made the decision, I'm going to cut all of these things out of my diet, because the itching as well, it was really, really uncomfortable. I just wanted it to stop. And I remember the next day I went into Whole Foods because I was like, right, I need to buy new food. I can't eat all this stuff that I've like bought. It was the most overwhelming experience of my life that I just cried my eyes out in Whole Foods because I had no clue what to eat. How overwhelming it is not knowing what to eat and then being so scared that if you eat the wrong thing, it's going to cause more breakouts or cause more problems, and that is a really dangerous place to be. Like, I was going through a lot anyway at the time with my like singing career and all that, so there was a lot of stress in that area. But with this on top, my stress levels, my body, my mentality, my everything, it hit an absolute low. I remember there was this one day where I left the apartment we were staying in and I was in such a bad way. I was walking down the corridor and I just collapsed. Literally just collapsed smack bang on the floor. And I remember my mum just like crying. She's like, oh my god, because it was only me and her there. And yeah, that is how bad it got. I literally was so depressed I collapsed. Sometimes, you know, you do have to hit rock bottom before you can really make an impactful change in your life, and that for me was my rock bottom. From that moment forward, I just got more into like, okay, I need to read up and educate myself on all this stuff. So I actually went and bought books from Barnes and Nobles. I remember buying this massive book, the food allergies book, reading and researching, and the more I adapted my diet and started clicking things into place, all the little bumps on my forehead went. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a link between what I'm eating and my skin. So I got back to England a couple months later. I then had this thought to myself that, oh, okay, if I know if it's allergies, maybe if I go back on the pill, that might sort out my hormones. Because at the time, I wasn't educated really on, you know, the effect of the pill on the, like, your hormones and actually what the pill is. So I was like, great, I went to the doctors, got on the pill. It was not doing anything for my skin. If anything, it was getting worse, especially 2 weeks into the cycle. I kept getting like a really bad outbreak. So I switched my pill. I cannot remember which pills I was on. I'll try and research it in my like records. If I can find it, I'll put them on the screen. Obviously my health journey started going like more and more along, and I started to learn actually about the pill and about the effects of that. So then I decided, right, let me come off the pill. So I came off the pill, and then what happens? I lost my period for over a year. First things first, the doctors just didn't want to know. Every time I went to the doctor before like the 6-month mark, they were like, this is normal, and just didn't want to see me. My hormonal acne just grew and grew and grew, and it was getting all over my cheeks, my jawline. They were starting to come out in cysts. I was getting it all on my forehead. I started to get more and more depressed. It was affecting my social life massively because I just didn't want to go out because I was just so self-conscious about my skin. I just thought everyone was just like looking at it. I hated it. I started to look into other routes, so I went and saw a herbalist. Like, I took the tinctures, but it didn't really do much for me, to be honest with you. My herbalist session turned into more of a therapy session. I also started to dibble dabble with skincare. You know, my skin was becoming more oily, so I started to go for like a lot of the, you know, oily skin based products. So I was kind of stripping my skin from 16 until like the last 2 years. I was just stripping my skin constantly, whether it was from like the wrong face washes to using acids on my skin to using spot treatments constantly and overusing these kind of products. So my skin was just being stripped and stripped and stripped the whole way through this journey. And I also got into that trap of kind of orthorexia, when you get so obsessed with healthy eating, cut out so many different things because you think it might give you acne. So I started to also undereat. So then I had this epiphany moment of, okay, I'm trying to find all these other things to fix me. I need to actually try and fix myself and turn to myself for advice. What's the first thing I need to tackle to fix my acne? Step 1, get my period back. So I started my research into, you know, the menstrual cycle, how it works, what we need to make it function. And then my mum, who's really into alternative healing, she then turned around and she was like, I'm going to India for a month. Told me about, there's a doctor who I'm going to be staying and using the facility with, who's an Ayurvedic doctor, and if you want, they're offering that you can come and study Ayurveda. And I didn't even actually have to think about my answer. I was like, I'm coming. So I booked my ticket and I went off to India for a whole month and studied Ayurveda. I thought, okay, as hard as it is, as hard as obsessive I am over my food, I'm gonna give this my best crack. Do exactly what the Ayurvedic doctor says. I'll see if I can try and heal myself this way. I took personalized tinctures that she made for me to help with hormone balance and my acne. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup for the full month. She literally banned me from putting any makeup on my skin. I also was doing like steaming every so often, doing Ayurvedic face masks. I was learning about my body type and like doing my actual, what my type was. I was a pitta, so learning how to balance my pitta. And then I also actually did the panchakarma, which is basically a really intense like clear out of your bowels. Go to the toilet, I can't even begin to tell you how many times this stuff makes you go. I actually did get a bit of blood and I got a bit of spotting, and this was like the most exciting thing. I cried. I was like, oh my goodness, is my period coming back? No period afterwards. Like that was it. I still didn't get a period for a good couple of months after, so it didn't really count as anything. It was hardly anything, but it just showed me, okay, something's working down there. Came back from India, went back to the GP thinking, let me give this another crack, because now it has been over a year since I've last had a period. They finally decided they're going to test my hormones, so they did me a full blood test. But when I went to the GP, I said to them, I said I want to see a GP who's not going to recommend me the pill, because I'm not going on the pill to fix my hormone situation. So they recommended me to this female doctor, and when I went and spoke to her, she just said one thing to me, which was, what is your weight? And I told her, which was at the time 7 stone 4, which was so underweight for me. Like I should be at least 8 stone. She said to me, you need to get your weight up. The magic number is 8. As soon as you get your weight up to 8, I put, like, she was like, basically said, I put money on it that you'll come on your period. Also, while I was at the doctor, she gave me my test results back, and funny enough, actually, my test results said that my hormone levels weren't actually that much out of whack. It was more my, I think it was my prolactin that was a little bit off, but the most surprising one was I had an underactive thyroid, which is very peculiar because usually with an underactive thyroid, you put on weight. So I went off to my natural health store and I picked up a supplement, which is the BioCare TH207, which I still take now and absolutely love it. Started taking that and I started focusing on putting on weight. Putting coconut into all my food. I was eating lots of nut butters and healthy fats, because fats is basically a really great way to put on weight because they're really calorie dense. So I just put all these things into my food every meal and just tried to get my weight up. Lo and behold, one day I got my weight up, and what happened? My period came back. So after getting my period back, I did notice my skin started to get a little bit better, but it still wasn't 100%. Like I still had acne. So I started trying different diets out, thinking maybe it is still something with my food. Maybe, you know, something is triggering it in my body. I tried vegan, paleo, yeast-free, sugar-free, keto. I tried a diet that was recommended for acne. I tried it. Some of them did give like good results, a little bit, but not completely. And it's funny because now knowing how I cured my acne, like all of these little bits from every single diet I needed to piece together and make my own diet. On top of that, I then started to try like some natural remedies. I started trying apple cider vinegar. That didn't work for me. That actually made my acne so much worse. I also then dabbled into skincare products. So that's when I did my Purge Me video. The salicylic acid on my skin every single day. When I say that out loud, I just literally want to just hit myself. That obviously wasn't working, as you can see in those videos. Started falling down the trap of looking for something, like something else to fix my skin, instead of just realizing what works for other people doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for me. And I took a step back and thought, right, I need to listen to my body and start actually paying attention to my body, because your body does give you answers. It's just whether you listen to it and make note of it. So I started, you know, making note of how I felt after I eat certain foods, how my skin reacted after certain meals, when was my skin good, when was my skin worse, and just really started to become in tune with my body. And this is when my journey to curing my skin really kicked into gear. 10 years of going through all that to get me to this point, but now all this information that I've gathered on myself and my skin, I can take this now through life, and it's so valuable. Just know that everything you're learning right now about your skin, it's like invaluable for when you're older, because you can take all this through life. I've got 2 videos coming for you which finish off this journey. One is how I cured my acne through products, and the second video is how I cured my acne through my diet. So if you want to see those videos and know exactly what I did to get my skin to how it is now, then please do press that subscribe button and join the family so you don't miss out on those videos. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if this story resonates with you, and yeah, just love to hear your stories as well if you're willing to share them. Obviously, if you don't want to, that's absolutely fine. I'm gonna head off now, but I will see you guys very, very soon in my next video. Mwah. Bye.